Welcome to tonight's episode of the Seki Hattie and Friends show. Tonight's show is all about the Rainbow Bridge of Ascension. Over to you, Sekhmet and Atha.
Thank you, Isis. I'm Seki, but as the goddess of magic just pointed out, it's short for Sekhmet.
Hiya, and I am Hattie. Thank you, Goddess Isis, for the formal introduction. You are so sweet.
Just for that, I have decided to allow both my daughter Jessica and Isis to share the narrations of tonight's episode, as my little girl could do with some help on the technical bits. Is that okay with you, Isis?
I am honored that you have asked. It would be my pleasure. Jessie baby, could you please start it off, as I'm dying for a wee. Be right back.
Yeah. Right then. Where's the script? Hang on. There's no bloody script. Oh shit. Hi folks. Jessie here. Sekhmet and Partara's second youngest daughter, but first daughter to ascend in the 21st century CE. I wonder if Sissy has finished her wee yet? Well, I have an older sister called Jen and an older brother called Ben. And I have a younger sister called Francesca, or Frankie for short. They are half brothers and sisters, as each one was born to a different mum. To protect them in life, all have stepfathers who volunteered for the jobs, so that Dad could become stepfather to Ash. As to be mentor to the quadruple ones to get them ready to become gatekeepers 111 and 222. I am gatekeeper 333. When someone that you love dies, they are either buried or cremated. I was cremated and Dad released my spirit to an orb so that I could rise with the ashes and be taken on board the massive light orb UAP that was on the 9th of September 2007.
I'm back. That was a welcome relief. Did I miss much? Let's get on with the technical stuff. Euroghost Express travels from Istanbul west and calls in at Freiding near Munich in Deutschland. I say Deutschland as they speak Deutsch there. Then it trundles up to Calais in France. I say trundles as it's a walking train, also known as a bloody long queue. At Calais, our French ferries sift out all of the nasties and critters that shouldn't be there. Those nasties and critters are then marched down to Fatima in Portugal, where they are sorted again so that the little critters can cross the Med to Morocco. And the nasties can rot in Fatima while worshipping a holm oak tree that Our Lady of the West appeared upon on a few occasions over 100 years ago.
Yeah, that was me.
Spectral passengers of any religion, also known as ghosts and disappointed souls who haven't got an UFO ball token, have to wait in that bloody long queue for their turn to make the declaration. As most souls haven't learnt the declaration in life, they don't stand a chance in afterlife of progressing past Calais. So they end up on a return line back towards Istanbul or wherever they came from.
Before they, that pass the first test of 2 truths at the Calais terminal, can proceed past Sangat and into the tunnel, they are stopped by British Ferry Border Force guards and have their paperwork checked. Before they can proceed into the tunnel. Then starts the long walk in darkness down the air vents. When they reach the other side and before they exit the tunnel, they are tested again. If they pass the test again with the exact same answers that they gave in the first test, then they may proceed. If they fail, then they are marched up to the White Cliffs of Dover and thrown off them into the English Channel, where a big nasty sea dragon waits for them to splosh into the sea, and then she eats them.
Yum yum, for dragon's tum. Here's an example of some of the documentation you as a spirit in the afterlife will need. Yep, we've modernized it and made it all contemporary like. No retards dressed in medieval costumes around here. Once you've cleared passport and UFO ball control, it's either a quick zip down the blue lane or a bloody long queue into the red and orange lane. It should be red, but co-pilot easily gets confused. Once your spectral soul, also known as spirit or ghost, exits the spectral terminal after passing the second test, you are ushered to the appropriate colored lane, as per the crystalline color of your UFO ball. Or get yourself plonked into yet another bloody long queue to slowly continue as a walking train. As we are very energy conservation aware around here, you don't get out for nout.
The rainbow lanes from the spectral terminal initially head south to Sandgate in Folkestone, then it's a hard right turn onto the Rainbow Bridge concourse. Only if you have a UFO ball token in your spectral possession. If you haven't, you will not be on these lanes and will remain at ground level and on a different path that will take you up the M20 Central Reservation, as you won't normally find a living there, unless it's roadworks or a multiple pile-up. Back to the Rainbow Bridge concourse. On the initial southern trek, you'll find yourself having to walk down roads, jump over fences, walk through people's gardens and cross roads and railway lines. Always remember the green cross code.
After the hard right-hander, you'll still be at ground level heading westward until you arrive at Knockwood near St. Michael's in Kent. There the crystalline red UFO ball token holders get settled in, while awaiting their light orb lift up to the stratosphere, above the clouds, where they must wait until the big orbs are ready to collect them.
From St. Michael's onwards, heading west is where the shallow rainbow bridges come into operation. Cosmically powered by planet Earth's geomagnetic fields, night glow, and auroras. During the equinoxes, they become visible to the human eye in life, on misty mornings or when it's been pissing down. With rain. Orange, green, turquoise, blue, indigo, and violet all continue westwards from St. Michael's in Kent. The red passage terminates at Knockwood near St. Michael's in Kent.
The orange passage terminates at Hartfield in East Sussex. Same setup as before with the exception that you journeyed within the band of a very special rainbow across counties, as well as relocating to a higher level within the stratosphere than those with the red UFO ball token.
The next stop along the way is Alfold Crossways in Surrey, in the woodland, south of the aerodrome where the petrolheads filmed Top Gear. Again, those with the crystalline yellow UFO ball tokens settle in to await their lift to a higher level within the atmosphere.
Crystalline green rainbow passage takes you on to Abbottstone Down. I have several little encampments around here. Yes, you heard correctly, as I am the 444 gatekeeper, but I like to observe from high above. I have a brilliant pair of binoculars just for the job. Now where are you all hiding? My little liftees. Godsfield Copse, McEldover, Crabwood, and Chilbolton are some of my favourites. At this point those that were in that long queue from Folkestone had to trundle up the M20 Central Reservation, then play chicken with the traffic to get onto the M26 Centre Reservation, before having to play chicken again to get onto the M25 Central Reservation. Then a very scary game of traffic chicken to get onto the M3 Centre Reservation. Trundle down the M3 until they come into my territory, where my fairies and elvens usher them into the fields of Hampshire and Wiltshire to wait a lift up to the atmosphere. This happens every crop circle season.
Sorry, Jessie baby. May I do this bit?
Yeah.
Thanks. As it gets a bit tricky from here for a while, what with the Ministry of Dipshits. MOD. The next stop along the way is Battery Hill, Porton Down, where the dipshits like to play God. The crop circles in this area are more symbolic, like a messaging service, and they happen in and around Stonehenge.
Me too. This is my turf as I am the one that likes to play kiss chase with the army helicopters. All the way from Portal Down to Stour Head.
Me, Bagsy this bit. Hi Cirky here. As I am a goddess of protection, this is my territory. When you arrive in my area, I plonk, or chase, you into the safety of Old Oak Tree. Tie an indigo ribbon around an old oak tree. Nothing scarier than an oversized black scorpion chasing you around. Climb the tree and wait in the canopy for your light orb lift up to the thermosphere.
Nanny Newitt is standing in for Dad, Jeff APIs, while Dad is alive on Earth doing his APIs God stuff. From the tops of the indigo-ribboned old oak trees to the light gate at Will's Neck, Breton's Edge is where you who bear the numerological 3-numbered sequences between 888 and 999 get to wait for my dad, Jeff APIs 999 with the long count concordance of 2241. Representing Enki, Ea, El, Eli, Samuel, and the olive tree of the House of David. The true Messiah. Bang on time. Bang on schedule. It's just that the Gregorian Common Era clock is running 79 years and 11 months slow. Maybe one of the Caesars forgot to wind it up enough.
But, whatever you do, don't call him Jesus, as his name is Jeff. It's like God, in a way. He'll be the first one to point out that Jesus is a spelling mistake, by William Tyndale. And if you're wondering, yes, I am wearing clothes under this spectral cape. Not in the nuddy at all. We as a team have all worked our nuts and tits off to bring about this rainbow bridge to ascension. We have shed loads of time and energy into this endeavor while most of you stopped believing in us centuries ago. Dogma is such a crappy thing. So if you want to ascend to heaven in afterlife, well, I suggest that you remind yourself about the declaration of the 42 principles or get yourself a UFO ball token.
Dad is really sweet. You'll like him. I love him, with a big L.
We all love him. with a whopper of a capital L. Without him, you're all screwed with a whopper of a capital S.
Wow, that was strongly worded. Well, I think that this brings us nicely to the end of this episode of the Seki, Hattie and Friends show. Thank you for watching. Conduit closing.